Hey everybody, I'm Olivia F. Scott, the creator of Freedom at the Mat. We are a safe and sacred place for you to find your peace, find your freedom, and improve your health and wellness. I'm always grateful to be able to connect with experts and have conversations with them to offer our community helpful information, movement sessions, as well as affirmation content to a community of like-minded women. So if this content speaks to you, be sure to subscribe, like, and share these videos. So listen, today we have a talk with Dominique Landry about personal training, strength training, and what it means to be fit enough. So listen in. You're so high. All right, guys, so today I have a really special treat for us. We have an athlete, nationally certified personal trainer, and group fitness instructor, and proponent of healthy lifestyle for her entire life. She's also a health and fitness correspondent for news all over the country, and she knew that she had to do something when she was struggling. Her friends were struggling with strength and beauty based on what they were seeing from the media about what it meant to be fit, period. So she found it fit enough to really challenge some of the stereotypes of what fitness means. Fit Enough celebrates your individuality by pushing you to become your very best self, by empowering us to trust in our own abilities to determine what our best selves look like. The Fit Enough model allows for an increased level of flexibility, enabling us to focus on our health on our own schedules. Aside from being the founder and CEO of Fit Enough, this superwoman, Dominique Landry, is a wife, a mother, and a motivator to the masses. Can we welcome her in today? Dominique, are you there?
I am here. I need you to kind of just travel with me, okay? Because the way you say things sounds so amazing.
Listen, you are all of that. And ever since I saw you, I mean, I first met you, as you know, around Essence Wellness House. There was a request in the inbox. And then I was like, explored you. It was the kickboxing, the reggae that kind of lured me in. And then after that, I just fell in love with you. So I'm so
Thank
grateful for your
you.
time today.
Oh, well, the feeling is mutual, and I am more than ecstatic to be here.
All right, so let's get into it. First of all, Fit Enough, I love because my body is one type, someone else's is their type, and we
Right.
really need that permission to fall in love with our bodies as they are. So they
Yes.
say that pressure makes diamonds. Can you tell us your origin story and how Fit Enough came into existence?
Okay, so I think pressure does make diamonds, and so it was really a difficult time in my life. My sister passed away unexpectedly from an illness, and she left behind three little girls. And my husband, of course, was working to support our family at that time, two, now three. And I didn't want to have to take away finances from our family to be able to support the girls in the way that I wanted to. And so I thought the short story is I thought, like, what can I do well? What have I been doing? Because I had been doing this for my friends a long time ago, and like, what's my personal calling? What is that ick that makes me say, okay, I need to fix this? And so the answer led me to fitness, Fit Enough. I'm a mom of, I am a sister of like three girls. My mom was one of four girls. So when I think about women, specifically Black women, then I went to all Black HBCU for women. I think when it comes to that specific niche of Black women in fitness, I think it is key that that's something that we take on. That's something that I think we are least represented in.
Mhm.
And that's kind of what brought me here.
Got it. So, how can people embrace their physical and overall achievements in a healthy way? Because I think one of the things that I struggle with is that many of us, when we look at fitness, a lot of us just aren't interested in it, right? But another way for us to track being well and being fit is just through how we're eating. So, when we talk about getting excited, like I just graduated from a program recently, and of course, what are we going
Woo!
to right? We're gonna go eat, right? So how would you recommend that women who we want to celebrate ourselves, that we can embrace our achievements in a healthy way versus overeating?
So honestly, and I know this is like an unpopular opinion in the fitness space, but my suggestion is that you do just that. Culturally, food is used to celebrate. I am not trying to take and steal joy from people in the, striving to be fit, right? Because I think that's what makes people miserable and not want to be fit. They feel like they have to give up their entire life, they have to give up all their celebrations to do so. And that's just not the case. I think if we do things in moderation, that is the way that we do it. Like, you're not celebrating something every day. At least you shouldn't be, right? If you are, give me your life. I'm coming with you. Yes. But there's not a need to celebrate in such a dramatic fashion every day. So make sure that you're choosing the moment that you want to celebrate. So if it's like a girls' night out and say we have like 1 to 2 drinks and then we do dessert, do it then. Don't do it the rest of the week, right? Don't do it all week and all weekend. So you just really have to be conscious about the way you choose to celebrate and how many times you do so. And that's what makes the most sense in terms of thinking about how can we make this both feel good and then also be sustainable. Like, I don't want to rob anyone's joy when it comes to fitness. I think that's like one of the major issues in the industry.
That's what I was going to ask you, right? So I know I love your approach to fitness. What is your biggest pet peeve? Because it seems like you got a few pet peeves of the fitness industry. What's your biggest pet peeve with the industry of fitness?
I got a lot of pet peeves. I'm angry now. I think my biggest pet peeve is that it's a capitalist business. It is a money grab. It is a billion-dollar business, and it thrives off of people that are at their lowest point, and it takes advantage of people at their lowest point. So they're taking the people that want to lose weight because of their health is an issue. They are taking people that are having issues with like body consciousness and feel terrible about themselves. And then they're selling them all this stuff that's unnecessary. They're going to sell them a diet. When we all know with diets, it tends to be a fad. It tends to not be sustainable. You go up, you lose a bunch of weight, and then you end up gaining it back plus some usually, right? There's this juice that they want to have, and you need to have a juice cleanse. And so then you're spending all your money weekly on this juice cleanse when honestly, our body naturally cleanses itself. That is what your kidney and livers do. That is what your body naturally does. You don't need a juice to do that. And so I just feel like it is so ingrained in us that we have to like pay all this money to be fit or healthy. And we have to do all these things that are not natural. And quite honestly, it's the most natural thing you can do. Listening to your body, eating well, drinking water, minding your business. And you're good to go.
So let's talk about that, right? So there's a whole notion that I have been struggling with for a while as well about wellness. You have to outsource wellness outside of you. So it sounds like you're agreeing with my overall philosophy around wellness, not fitness per se, but wellness, that you have everything that you need to be well, right? Now let's talk
Absolutely.
about fitness. I had an experience with a friend about 10 years ago, and she was like the fittest woman in the state of Michigan. She's like 60 years old. Long story. I won't go down the dark. Anyway, my point is, she's like, Olivia, all you need is strength training. All you need is your body weight. Like all this extra stuff that we do at the gym, it's not necessary. Can you talk to us about the importance of strength training for our bodies?
I mean, absolutely. I think, and I've said this, I think I say this all the time, and I'm going to continue to say it. The number one thing you can do for your body as you age is strength training.
Hmm.
It helps with bone density. So as we age, our bones get weaker and brittle. Strength training staves that off. As you age, I always tell people the body is the most unloyal thing that you have, right? You can work out, like for me, I work out 5 days a week. If I take if I take like a week off, that next time I'm in there, I mean, I'll get back eventually, but I feel it. And as I age, I feel it more, right? So
Yeah.
as you age, your metabolism slows down by like 10% every decade. Strength training helps that. It increases muscle mass. It means you'll have more muscle than fat, and it means that it will boost your metabolism. There is a mind connection to strength training. So you're focusing on and focusing on your body, and you have to breathe through those muscles, right? Breathe through that exercise. So there's like breath work and strength training that just focuses you. And so there's so many specific things that strength training does for your body, especially as we age. And then there's like, let's just be honest, the functionality piece of it. Most of strength training is so you can do everyday life things. If you've ever had an injury, or so like I had a hernia that I had to have surgery for. And it was in that moment that I recognized how much I used my core, right?
I'm
Because
sure.
when you're cut across and then you have to do everything, every little thing you pick up, using the restroom, getting up from bed, that you need a strong core for that. If you have kids, picking them up, you need that. As you age, if you fall and you want to be able to push up off the ground, you need strength for that. And so it is literally the everyday things we do in life that strength training is setting us up for. If you're traveling, you need to pick up your suitcase, you need to lift it overhead. What do you think that is? That is a shoulder press.
Right.
So it's just everything that you do, you strength train for it.
I never thought about that because I take great pride in being 5 feet tall
And
and getting on the airplanes. I always am, and being like, boop. And then people always like, "Do you
boom.
need help?" Because they're
No,
clearly she needs help. She's 5 feet, clearly. And I'm like, no,
I
right?
got it. Why you got it? Because it prioritize movement. That's
Ah,
all it is. That's
thank you.
all it is.
Thank you. All right. So to that point, for our community of women, some of them are already pretty far down the fitness track, and some of us are not. Do you have 3 on-the-go exercises for women who are really, really busy and they just don't have the time, but they can begin to make the time doing these 3 easy, accessible exercises every day?
Yes, absolutely. All going to be body weight. So you literally need nothing. You can travel with it. Um, a squat. This is all, and mind you, these are all strength moves. A squat is going to be your first one. The second one is going to be a push up. That is going to be a total body move. You're using your chest, you're using your core. And then the final one is a plank hold. The plank hold is the one that everyone hates, but it works. Again, total body. You are just literally, all you have to do is squeeze your body and make sure you're straight and right over your shoulders, and you're good to go. Those are my top 3 moves for anybody that wants to begin strength training, and 3 things that you can do on the go.
So before you go, can you break down why though? So what is it that the squat does? What is it actually strengthening in our body as we're doing it? You just told us about the plank and the core, but I'm curious,
Yes.
push up. But the squat, I'd like for you to break down from a biological perspective, like what it's actually doing.
So that focuses most on glutes and quads. So for those that aren't from, so your butt and the front of your thighs is really what's good for squats, but it also helps your joints. So that it's like the mobility piece of going up and down for your knees is really also great. So it's strengthening that knee joint as well. Because I know as we age, people tend to have problems with their knees. And
Yep.
so it's working those muscles around your knees. And that's why it's one of the things I say is the best thing to do.
Thank you. And then, so
Of
tell me
course.
this. So, what encouragement do you provide to women over 40 who feel discouraged? They've never been fit, they've never been into fitness, right? I will say, I feel like there are certain of us, like I was always a chubby little girl. So, I began working out at like 10 years old. So,
Oh my
I
gosh.
was able to, it was unfortunate, but whatever. It's a
Yes.
point.
That's a whole nother point. Yes.
That's a whole nother video, right? But at 10 years old, I was counting calories and trying to lose weight, right? So I kind of understood things pretty early. But I have a lot of
Mm.
friends, and I'm sure you know of them as well, who
Mhm.
they were thin all their lives, and then the metabolism crashed, and then at 40, they're like, what do I do? This is not my body. So what encouragement and words of wisdom or advice would you offer for those who don't have any fitness regimen whatsoever?
One, it's so funny you say that because I often think it's the people that are naturally skinny that are like the most set up to not be successful in the end because they've never had to work for it. While some of us were like always kind of more conscious because we're just not
Correct.
naturally small. So we're like, oh, I'm on it. So I think the first thing I would say is it is literally never too late. I have clients that start with me in like their 60s. And yeah. And they curse me out because, older folks, they are set in their ways. And luckily I don't take it personally. but, but it's I mean like curse me smooth out. But they do it because I don't care and I force them to do it. But it's honestly like it is never too late. And then the other piece is to just like take it bit by bit, right? So just start doing one thing, whether that is like you're starting with walking or whether that is you're starting with trying to change your diet just a little bit. I'm not talking about like a total change, but it could just be like something like, I'm going to drink more water this week. And the next week, I'm going to add on to that and say, okay, I'm going to cut out, fried food every day this week. And then the next thing is like, I'm going to go to YouTube and find somebody to dance with if dancing is your thing. I think it's just really figuring out what is your thing, what is it that you enjoy doing. Start with that, right? Because if we start with what we hate, we might not continue it, right? So if it is a Zumba class, you like Zumba, there's a million YouTube videos, or you can do it in person. If you're not a water fan, you can start by adding crystal light to your water, right? So there's many ways that you can do it if you're just like creative in the way you do it, but just start with something that brings you joy, because if you start with joy, and you tend to stick with it just a little bit longer.
Speaking of sticking with things a little bit longer, so mental health plays a really big part in everything starts in the mind, right? So what are some things that we can do to keep our mental health strong and to stay motivated as we are achieving our fitness goals, right? Because like I know, we want to lose 40 pounds. And of course, we want to lose
in a week.
Overnight.
I do too.
Right? So after it's been 2 weeks and I've lost 1 pound, I'm no longer motivated. What do you say to those of us who are like, we've got some pounds to go, but we need to stay motivated?
Yeah, so I would say by and large, throw that scale away, right? So I'm really big on non-scale wins. I think scales are helpful long term. If you do want to know how you're doing, I would weigh myself once a week at the same time, usually like would say a Monday morning after you've used the restroom. Maybe for women, we want to skip the days that we're on our period, that will throw you off. But just like one time a week to keep us. But let's think about like the non-scale victories. I'm really huge on taking pictures because your body is changing, and because you see yourself every day, you might not be able to see it. But if you take a picture, the picture is going to show you how your body is changing. So you want to take it from all angles, front, back, and side. Pick up a pair of clothes that you can't fit in and see how much it goes every day. Or you could do something like, and this is like a real mind thing, just like a checklist of, I'm going to work out 3 days this week. And if you're doing that, give yourself a little treat. It doesn't have to be a food treat, right? Give yourself a little treat at the end. So you're saying like, sometimes for me, especially, I like to check things off a list. I feel accomplished. And so I think it's just thinking through the non-scale victories that help you get to your goal. And then if you have a longer goal, thinking of what are the ways you celebrate in between. So if your goal is 40 pounds, one, please don't do 40 pounds in a week. Don't do 40 pounds in a month. 40 pounds is more like a year-long thing. So just an FYI on that, okay? Like, if you want 40 pounds, let's just make it manageable and sustainable. Because if you lose 40 pounds in a month, I'm going to guarantee you that you will likely gain it back, or what you had to do to get that far, you will not be able to sustain. So you just want to think through like, if it's 40 pounds, how am I bigging myself up every 5 pounds that I lose? And things of that nature.
Without a donut, because I was when you said like treating yourself, I was like,
I said a little treat. I said that's not the treat. The treat might be like a mani pedi, right? The treat might be like a massage because you've been working hard. A treat might be like a much needed girls' night out. So those are the things that you can say, I can give myself a treat without it being a treat that is pushing me further from my goals. But at minus 10 pounds, it might be the donut, and that's also okay, right?
Right. I'm like, I might go for the donut. Okay, just a couple of more for you, right? So you just mentioned not wanting to establish a goal of 40 pounds in a month. But you and I know that many people, they
do.
are using all types of things. I don't want to say the names, but they start with an O, they end with a
Uh-huh.
C,
Yes.
right? Products like that. What is your thought about getting some assistance from some of the pharma products that people are using now to
Okay.
manage
So
diabetes, but they're using it for, like, losing weight?
one, so I just have to state it that I think it's hard because I know there are people that actually need it for diabetes that are having a hard time finding it because other people are using it for different reasons.
Right.
With that being said, for some people, like, it makes sense. It might be, I'm not ever going to knock anyone for having a kickstart to whatever they need. I just always suggest to people to know the long-term effects of it, and I think that's not yet to be discovered. So I caution people about that. Understand the side effects. Understand that if it comes to a point, like, if you're going to do this, you still need to eat properly and train properly, because you might not be able to afford this forever. And even if
Right.
you can, that's not making you healthy. That's just making you smaller, right?
Right.
And
Right.
those two things, I don't want to conflate those two things as if that is
Mm.
just the truth. Like, you can be smaller, you can be skinny and not healthy, right? And so I think if you're doing it, continue on a holistic, like, mind and body actual journey. So whatever the mind and perspective is that made you feel like you needed this, like, let's address that, right? Whatever, like, if you were overweight, let's address those things that made you overweight. Let's talk about the way we eat. Let's talk about, are we training? Because those are the things that is going to make this a sustainable thing long term and actually lead to true health, not just being skinny, because skinny is not healthy. It never has been. And I think we tend to feel that it is, and society tells us that it is. But I
Yep.
know a lot of skinny people that are not healthy, that cannot even walk up the stairs
Yep.
without breathing heavy. So
Me too.
let's just state that.
Me too. And so that leads me to my final question, but I feel like I have another question based on what you just said. But what is fit enough? How will we know as individuals, right, that we're fit enough?
So I chose this name because of the enough. Like, we already are enough. Like, you're coming to the table fully enough. The idea is that perspective shift, that you believe that you are enough, right? And, like, when you believe that you're enough, what does that perspective make you do, right? When I feel like I deserve good health, that makes me operate in different ways, right? And so it's truly about a perspective thing. And it means that when I do start this journey, I'm not starting it one hating myself and punishing myself. I'm starting it from a place of love, which means that I can give myself grace when I mess up, right? I don't have to quit and determine that I'm a failure again. That means I can start over and over. That means I can switch the goal, right? Because I'm leading with love and grace. And when you lead with love and grace, and in this idea that you are enough and deserving, then you operate differently. So that's how you know you already are enough. You just have to
Mm,
you just have to believe it.
very well. And then my final question, thank you for that. It's like it starts in your mind, like everything. It all starts.
Always,
So
always.
we are women. We're overly
Yes.
body conscious. I think it would be valuable if you would share from your perspective, since it's not the drugs you recommend, right? And it's not these crash diets. What do you recommend is a proven and effective approach for weight loss?
I mean, I hate to say, like, people think it's rocket science, and it really isn't. Like, abs are made in the kitchen, and your body needs to move. Movement, eating right, boom. That is always going to do it, no matter who you are. And they try to make it harder than what it is. They
Right.
try to make you count all these things. They try
Yes.
to, like, it. It is so simple that your body craves movement, and your body craves healthy foods. When you start the thing is, when you start on that journey, and when you start to eat differently, you will be able to tell. I grew up, and I'm probably telling my age here. I'll be 40 this year. I don't mind telling my age, but I all of high school, I had my senior year. I remember I ate chocolate chip fries and Fruitopia for lunch, and then I had like a McDonald's fish fillet sandwich with orange Fanta before band practice, mind you. This is how you know metabolism is good to you when you're young, right? This is how you know. Okay, because I would do that before band practice, before I went and danced for hours. Okay, this is how you know. I cannot eat that now without feeling sick, right? I can
Right.
eat a few cookies, but my body is telling me like, baby, when I've done too much, I know it immediately, right? I can't even drink sodas anymore. They're too strong for me. So it's just like your body is telling you what is the right things to do. If I do not move often enough, my body is telling me like, baby, get up. You need to do something, right?
Yeah.
And
Yes.
so it is so simple, and I think we try to overcomplicate it and throw so much money at it.
Right.
And I mind you, I get paid from this, right? So like I hurt myself when I tell people this, but I mean it. Like, which is why I give a bunch of free content and everything. Like, if some people need the extra motivation and like, just the beginning support, but my goal for all my clients is to fly without me. Like, hey, you don't need me anymore. You can come and chit chat, but like, you've got it. Like, we've set you up. But yeah, it is like so simple.
I appreciate you. That's why I knew, I was like, if I were a betting woman, I would have bet $1,000 you were going to say that, right? Because I've had several approaches to weight loss in my life, and I've had different people, trainers, nutritionists, and one of my nutritionists was like, Olivia, it's calories in, calories out. That's it. Now, calories out if you want to stop eating, if you want to work out together. But it's really simple. And to your point, all these programs that make you count things and whatever. And again, the calories, when I was that 10 years old, which is pretty bad, but I had a little calorie counter. And at that time, I limited my
that makes me sad.
It's a whole nother episode. But my mother counted calories though. So I was following my mother, right?
Yep.
130 or less. So I had my calorie counter next to her. She had a little book, and we started at 1,500. And I added, at that time in Memphis, I would have a bologna sandwich. I would have a smoked sausage. I would actually put them on. And when I got to my 1,500, I stopped. And I was able to lose my weight. But that was when I began to understand at a very young age about calories in, calories out. So when all these different programs, I'm like, it's really not that complicated, but
it's not.
As you said earlier, it's the industry, right?
It's a $1 billion business. Like it's absolutely, people are just trying to make money off of you. And while it's important to understand like what you're putting in your body, right? Like a Snickers is going to be this many calories versus you could probably have had a whole meal from it. But again, we make our choices, right?
Right.
And the other piece of that is like, as you're mentioning, bologna and smoked meat and things like that. It's just like, those are 1,500 calories in, but what did those 1,500 calories do for your body? Because so much of it, they preach calories in versus calories out, but calories aren't all the same. Like if I had a Snickers bar and then stop eating for the day, I'd still have the same amount of calories in, calories out. But like, how has that nourished my body?
Correct.
It hasn't.
Correct.
But it could be the same amount. So I could eat junk food all day and have the same caloric intake. My body's going to feel different, right?
Correct.
It's not going to function the way it might. I might lose weight just because of the calories in, calories out. But that's not the point of this. The point is to like feel well and be healthy and live long. And so even when I say calories in, calories out, I don't say that because you can screw that up, right?
Correct.
You can stop eating a certain amount of calories and be like done, but that's not healthy. So it really depends on what calories you're putting in, because certain foods do certain things for your body. You need fruits and vegetables. You need protein, and so that's why I'm like, what it is that you're putting in your body, and how it is that you're moving your body. But it's
so to that point, I keep saying final question. I've got one more. You're a mother, right?
Yes.
How many? 3, right?
3. Right. They running me. I'm sure y'all heard them beating trying to get in earlier.
I know, they're like, Mama, we're ready for you right now. But to the point of being a mother, for mothers who I've witnessed, I'm not a mother myself, but I've witnessed mothers starting to like dibble dabble into chips and Takis and whatever because the kids want it. Mm-hmm. What would you recommend to mothers who are like, well, my kids want it and I end up dabbling. How can you create a better nutritional environment for your children, or can you?
I mean, you can, and you can still do both, right? Like my kids eat Takis sometimes, not often, because we know red dye makes people go crazy. So,
Correct.
like, but like, I don't say no because a lot of, I mean, some of it is still like just socially norming, with your kids that they want what their friends want on some level, and like on some level that's fine. We can, that's a whole nother story on like the extent of that, right? But our kids, we're just big on mirroring what it is that we want to see. If my kids we go out to eat, they're usually eating like sushi, salads, steaks. They bougie, yes, they are. But they're eating like their vegetables. They're not asking for like the chicken fingers and fries because that we just don't eat that very often. When I cook, they're in the kitchen with me. I have two boys and a girl. All the boys are gonna know how to cook, and cook well, and like eat healthy, and they know that our plates are going to be a rainbow, so there's going to be a ton of color on our plates. They know no matter what we eat, even if it's pizza, you're going to have a salad with it. Like there's always a veggie and fruit with every meal. And so I think they're always mirroring what they see, so we can't tell them things. We just have to like show up and be there. And like also what we have in our house is what we have in our house. I don't stop them from eating things at other people's houses. They can have Cheetos at other people's houses, but we're not going to have all the junk food in our house, right? And so I just think it's like a balance and like continuing. There's always an ebb and flow because the other piece of it is they have to learn themselves to make like the right choices. And if I'm always making the right choices for them, as soon as they go off to college or with their friends, they're not making that choice, right? And so it's just like what they see as normal. Same thing with exercise. Like they want to move. That's not because I'm forcing it. That's not because I'm telling it. I don't talk about working out so I'm skinny or not being fat. I talk about like I want to be strong. So my daughter wants to be strong. She challenges me in push up and pull up challenges. She can do more pull ups than me. Absolutely,
What?
right? Oh yeah.
Wow.
I be trying to tell her mommy thick though. So like you know. She working with a lot less. Look at me, I'm competitive. Can you tell? I'm like, mommy got a lot more she working with, Lily. I cannot pull like that. But it's just those things. It's like, what are we modeling to our kids? Because they're always looking more than they're listening, anyways.
Well, Miss Dominique Landry, if anybody wants to get more resources from you, more tips, clues about form, where do they go to get this information from you?
They can go to IG or all social media is fit_enough, or I'm fit enough with Dominique Landry. You can find me my website, imfitenough.com. You can always hit me up. I give free tips to everyone. I'll answer whatever questions you need. I truly just like want to make us all better and feel good. So yeah.
All right. Well, thank you so much for making the time today. Go give some love to your husband and the children. Thank the kids and children for giving me some time with you today. I know it was very hard.
So like they was coming for us.
They were. So thank you so much. And for our community, thank you so much for tuning in to today's episode with Dominique Landry. And as she said, you are enough. Let's start with that. And if you desire to improve your fitness, it's not all about spending a lot of money for it. Just manage what you're putting in your body. Make sure you're moving and get some healthy foods into your body. I'll see you guys soon. Ashe.